The Centipede in My Shoe. A biting lesson on the ill effects of procrastination. One morning before school, an uninvited guest found shelter in my shoes and decided to bite me when I dared reclaim them. The value of a single pair. During childhood, most of us were lucky to own one pair of shoes. I knew many kids who walked several miles to school every day barefoot. We walked 4 times daily. To school in the morning, back home for lunch, then back for the afternoon session, and finally home again. If you were unlucky, you'd be sent to the store after school, an extra mile or 2 all without shoes. Luckily, that wasn't my fate, but for a few that was their reality. Poverty is a sad truth for so many, even while the elite of the world have so much. With this understanding, we were taught to take great care of our belongings. There were no frequent shopping trips, and many of our clothes were sewn by our parents, often repurposed from other gently worn garments. A lesson in procrastination. Saturday mornings were for chores. Before the sun had fully risen, we were already up, scrubbing, sweeping, and tending to our tasks. One major duty was washing our canvas shoes and hanging them out to dry. Procrastination and I have always been sparring partners, so naturally, I put off my shoe washing until Sunday evening. By then, it was late, and in my haste, I hung my shoes outdoors on the fence, hoping they would dry in time for Monday morning. A painful wake-up call. Monday arrived. I got dressed for school, leaving my shoes for last, as we never wore them inside the house. I stepped outside, sat on the second-to-last rung of the stairs, and reached for my yachtings, as we called our canvas shoes, a British remnant from Guyana's colonial past. I favored high tops then, and I still do now. On that fateful morning, I sat low, carefully laced up my high tops, and double-tied the bow for added security, anticipating a day of running and playing. Then I stood up. That must have been when the trapped creature inside realized its predicament. Without warning, searing pain shot through my foot as something inside my shoe launched a full-scale attack, mercilessly biting my toes. The struggle. Panic set in. I screamed, kicking wildly in a desperate attempt to shake the unknown assailant loose. But my shoe was laced tight, too tight. The harder I stomped and thrashed, the more ferocious the biting became. By now, heads popped out of windows, and children on their way to school stopped to enjoy the morning's unexpected spectacle. My grandmother and aunt rushed outside, trying to restrain me long enough to remove the offending shoe. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they yanked it off. A long, brown centipede slithered free, its job done after delivering several vicious bites. My foot, liberated from its confines, swelled almost instantly. The remedy and the ribbing. School was out for me that day. My grandmother, armed with one of her trusted home remedies, treated my swollen foot, and soon all was well again. But my ordeal wasn't over just yet. For weeks, I was the butt of every schoolyard joke, teased mercilessly until, thankfully, some new, equally ridiculous event came along to steal the spotlight. The lesson. Procrastination often leads to painful, unintended consequences. Had I washed my shoes on Saturday as I was supposed to, I would have had ample time to dry them properly, shake them out thoroughly, and store them indoors. Instead, my laziness and love of play taught me a bitter but necessary lesson. Anything worth doing is worth doing right the first time. Do it right the first time.